Hello there, Jose Rodriguez here once again. In this video we're going to cover that question that keeps being asked in just about every printing type forum: how to print to either an Epson or a Canon printer using color management. The questions always seem to be, I'm getting color that's off, I'm getting color that's overall magenta, my prints are too dark, they do not match my monitor, etc., etc. First of all, your monitor has to be calibrated, and not just with the built-in calibrators that some operating systems offer you. Your eye is not accurate enough to perform this task. You must have a hardware type calibrating device. I particularly use a X-Rite Color Monkey photo, which allows me to not only calibrate my monitor to a standard setting, but also to create individual custom printing profiles that allows me to print to, say for instance, third-party papers. I can create specific printing profiles that will tell my printer how to properly blend the ink colors that it contains. Could be 6 colors, it could be 7, 8, or even 9 or higher, and it will tell the printer exactly how to mix those colors, blend them, so that it can reproduce values from an image being sent to it. And not only that, but to a specific paper that may have its own characteristics. We're going to open up an image, get it ready for print, and basically I'm going to take you through several of the printers that I have installed on my computer. We'll go from say for instance, an EPSON 3800 or Pro 3800, a Stylus R-2000, a Stylus 1400 at the lower end of the scale, and then we'll culminate with maybe one of the Canon Pro, either the 9000 Mark II or the 9500 Mark II. So let's go ahead and proceed. Now, as I stated earlier, I have already calibrated my monitor with the Color Monkey photo, so I know that what I am seeing is set to a specific standard or a baseline that is correct. So if I see that an image is a little bit too yellow, I can be assured that indeed it is too yellow, so that if I subtract yellow, it will print correctly. If your monitor is, for instance, set to the factory calibration, which many monitors contain a little button that resets it to factory standards, it will be set to blue, too bright and too contrasty. When you try to edit an image under such conditions, you will be changing the actual values, hues, densities, and contrast of that image, because it's being represented in a monitor that's set incorrectly. And that's the biggest problem that people run into. And often they'll be stubborn to the end, and they will not believe it until they actually see it done. So let's go ahead and just open up this image here of some boats. It's a TIFF file, and here you go. And now say this is exactly what we want to print. It has been edited correctly. We like everything about it, so we're going to go ahead and prepare to send it to print. So we'll go to File, Print, or we can do a Control P shortcut. As you can see, I have as a custom size. I was doing a panorama. So we'll start up with the low end the Stylus Photo 1400. And we will jump into the settings, print settings, and what a lot of people immediately make a mistake in is in the actual settings that they use. They'll let the printer control color, and then because they've heard the magic of ICC profiles and letting Photoshop control color, they'll forget to turn color handling off at the level of the print driver. So they end up with Photoshop controlling color as well as the driver, and they end up with a bad color cast on their images. So in this case, what we do instantly, the very beginning, is we're going to choose our paper, and this is simply a paper choice. This is not a profile. Okay, let's get that very, very clear. This is just a paper choice. So if I have ultra premium photo paper glossy on my printer, I would choose that particular paper, and we'll just pick a letter size for the demonstration. Simply what this tells the printer is how much ink to lay down, because different paper surfaces require different strength of ink layment, if you will. So for example, glossy does not need as much ink as, say, a luster paper. Luster paper will always tell the printer to lay a little bit heavier amount of ink, and so on. And matte may ask for a different distribution of ink. Has nothing to do with color handling. So it also tells the printer the thickness of the paper, the weight, and such, so that it can actually set the head to paper gap correctly. So we know that we are going to be using ultra premium photo paper glossy, so we'll pick it. Now this is where we pick our quality, and we can just go ahead and ignore this for now, go over to the advanced section, and here we can choose the same thing. This is photo, because the printer expects us to use a photo or photo RPM, which is the highest PPI resolution that the printer can produce. And the 1400 produces very, very highly detailed prints. In this case, we'll just pick photo, because the difference often is not that discernible on something like a letter size print. So we have it oriented for portrait. We're going to be printing in both directions or bidirectionally, so we'll have high speed turned on. This is off, this is on. And now for the most important aspect of color handling. We're going to look here where it says color management, and this is what we must do. We must click on ICM and then proceed to click on the off no color adjustment box. If you notice, that grayed out all of this information here totally. So now we are basically done. We have set our printer preferences correctly. We'll recheck that. It's set at photo, paper, ultra premium glossy, letter size, and when we go to the advanced, we have turned off color management. And that is what we must do every single time. Okay, now we have that aspect taken care of. We're going to go a little bit further down on the printing dialog of this is the Photoshop printing dialog, not to be confused with the driver. Okay, and we want it centered, and we want it scaled to fit the media. Now we can pick to print it full size, and if I undo that checkbox, I can move my image around and I can scale it to whatever setting I wish to set it at. Here we go. Of course, it could also be resized by hand to whatever size in relationship to the paper you would like it to be. I like to do that in Photoshop and not necessarily in this printer dialog box. So we'll go ahead and center it again and just hit scale to fit. Now, if you notice up here, it defaults, the color management section, it defaults to printer manages colors. Okay, we're going to undo that and tell Photoshop to manage color. And as you can see, once that is done, it allows me to scroll down all of my profiles that I have installed. And we will look for the 1400, the ultra premium glossy photo, and we will pick that profile. This is normal prints, and this is for the proofing industry. We're not going to get into that, so we'll just keep that normal. Now, there is such a thing as rendering intent, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this down to the center so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to click on here. And I don't know if you can see, it's a slight change on the preview between relative, colorimetric, and perceptual. You're going to toggle back and forth, and you're going to look for the one that gives you the best rendition. And for this particular image, perceptual seems to be doing that very well. When I click on these three boxes, it's going to give me sort of a pseudo soft proofing or preview of what it's going to look like when it's printed. It's going to take into account the paper base color. Here is going to show me areas that are in or out of gamut, and nothing is out of gamut. As you can see, nothing is turning gray. If I click here, this is what it looks like on my monitor. Now my monitor's gamut is higher than my printer's gamut, so it's when I click on this box, it's always going to slightly degrade the contrast somewhat. But on print, this is going to be maximum black. This area here, it's going to have the contrast, believe me. So that's basically it. We are ready to send it to print. Oh, we always click on black point compensation as well. So this is your normal rendering intent. We either pick perceptual or relative colorimetric in black point compensation, and it all depends on the type of image, how saturated the colors may be, whether it has colors that are out of the printer's gamut for that particular ink and papers that you are using. And that's it. So we would click on print and proceed to send it through the Stylus 1400 series. We're going to cancel out of here, and now I'm going to show you yet another printer with a slightly different interface. We're going to go to the Stylus R2000, which is hiding from here we go, and it is a network printer. And as you saw, it also defaults back to printer manages colors, but we're not going to worry about that yet. We're going to go into the printer's settings, and you can see it's a slightly different interface. Basically the same thing. We're going to use Photo Ultra Premium Paper Glossy, Luster, or Premium Photo Paper Semi-Gloss, or premium photo paper glossy. And of course we're printing in color. You can also print in grayscale. Quality options. Instead of saying photo or photo RPM, they actually give you a scale that you can pick from, and here it tells you superfine, microwave, superfine, super, and there is actual PPI resolution that matches each one of these. I think this is 1440 and this is 2880. Alright, so we'll just keep it at 4 again. And of course the R2000 has both matte pigment inks and photo or glossy black inks. I meant black matte and photo black, which is a glossier black. It also has gloss optimizer, which is a clear fluid that is overlaid over the print to minimize bronzing or gloss differential, which is often found in pigment glossy prints. I have it set on auto. Usually I just put it on full page. That way it not only it does not select areas, it just lays it evenly over the full print. So that's all set. And then here again is the important thing. Usually it'll default to EPSON standard sRGB. So what we'll do is, if it's set like that, which will more likely it will be, we're going to tell the printer not to control color. So that's the setting that we must adhere to 100% of the time. Now we will go ahead and hit OK. So we have, in recapping what we did, we have our paper, we have our quality option, and we have turned off color management. And I will go back out of the preferences at the driver, go back to the Photoshop printing interface. We'll pick Photoshop manages colors. We'll have perceptual again. So we're going to be using premium glossy. And again, as we did in the previous example, scale to fit. The gamut is much higher on this printer, so as you can see, as I toggle back and forth, there is hardly any difference. Let's turn that on this time. Yep. So from what I can see, these shadows are slightly more open when using perceptual. So we will go ahead and print, boom, and send that one off to the R2000. Now we're going to go ahead and open up another EPSON printer. And in this case it'll be the 3800. We're going to go ahead and open up the interface. It's very similar to the R2000. Now in that particular printer I have it set because that particular printer has also matte black and photo black, but unlike the R2000, it does not have a printhead channel for the photo black and also the matte black individually. It shares black channels. So I have it set for using matte ink at this point, or matte black. But we'll go ahead and leave it at enhanced matte paper because that's what the printer is set for this at the moment. Quality, again, it's up to you. I have it set at 4. That gives me very good detail. Remember, matte papers, the dots tend to spread out more than they do on glossy paper, so you really don't get much of an advantage printing at a very high resolution such as 2880 by 1440. So this is plenty printing resolution as far as the dots per inch that the printer will lay down on the paper. So again, it's very simple. As you can see, this is almost redundant. We have our paper choice. Remember, this is not a profile. This is a paper type. It tells the printer how heavy the paper is, how thick it is, and whether it's matte, glossy, luster, satin, whatever. And it knows how to adjust the amount of ink that is deposited on these papers. We're going to have no color adjustment, and we are done. Go ahead and hit OK. And once again, we're going to pick Photoshop Manages Colors. That's going to then actuate or activate our profiles. Here they are. So we're going to look for, I believe, what was that? Enhance Matte. These are so cryptic. Enhance Matte Photo. And again, we'll hit the, and as you can see, matte paper is not as punchy or contrasty as glossy. So you can see how colors become more muted. Not much difference between the two. Whether this muting of the colors actually translates itself to the actual print, I highly doubt it. I really get pretty much what I see even on this part of the monitor, and I often don't even use this. This is good for a beginner so they can see the effects of different profiles on different papers and such. But in reality, in the real world, it really does not represent what the print coming out of the printer looks like. In fact, when I bring it out here and put it in front of my monitor, it pretty much matches what I see on my screen, regardless of which printer I'm using or what paper I'm using, as long as my profile is correctly matched to the paper. And that's basically it. So as you saw, it's very, very simple. Going ahead and log out of that one. Now we're going to jump over to the Canon. Canon is a totally different animal. We'll go ahead and locate our Canon. We'll just pick the 9500 series. We're going to go ahead into its print settings, and we'll be met by a completely different interface. And I'm just going to show you what you need to do to set it to print without color management. Canons, for whatever the reason, have totally hidden that function. I have preset my printers from the devices and printers dialog to always have color handling turned off, so they automatically open without any color handling. And that if I'm in a hurry, I don't have to worry about whether am I double profiling, am I having Photoshop and the printer control color, are you sure the printer color handling mode has been turned off? I don't have to worry about that. It's always turned off. And I will show you what you are usually met with when you open up this dialog. So you'll be met with standard. What we'll do is we'll set it to photo printing. We will take off borderless at this point, either borderless or not, doesn't really matter, that has nothing to do with it. We're going to choose our paper. We're going to choose high quality, and we'll just pick, say for instance, photo paper plus glossy 2. That this is a Canon paper. And so now the printer knows that it's going to receive letter size from the rear tray. It will print it at high quality, and it will be photo paper plus glossy 2. So now for the important step, we're going to click on color intensity manual adjustment. Boom, that opens up this secondary window. This is where you would then manually adjust if you were letting the driver control color and telling Photoshop to let the printer manage color, like it's defaulting to here, as you can see. So what do? I don't see anywhere where it says to turn off color management, except here. We must go to the matching tab and then click on none and then hit OK. That's it. Where did it say anything about color management? Nowhere. Again, so click on that box, matching, and none. And that's it. Once you get those 2 or 3 things done, your Canon printer driver is properly set to work within a color management environment. Again, we're going to scale it to fit. Relative colorimetric or perceptual. We're going to hit, we want to preview. For some reason it's not allowing me to preview. Oh, I know why. I know why. Printer manages colors. Yes, now it will. We're going to hit the Canon profiles. We're going to pick, we'll try to find a profile that matches that, and this is the only one I could find. You can see a huge difference between relative colorimetric and perceptual. We're going to stick with perceptual in this particular case, and that is it. At that point I would click on print and I would have a perfectly printed image that will not have a color cast. The color cast comes from having Photoshop managed colors as well as the printer driver. Well, I hope this helped or at least clarified some of the problems that people have been having trying to print out of Photoshop onto either Epson or Canon printers. Thank you for sitting through this, and I hope to be bringing you more videos in the future. So until the next time, happy printing. Bye bye.